Adam Merlin, president of Merlin Auto Group. Today we're going to talk about the Ferrari F355. This car was built from 1995 to 1999 and came in 3 different configurations. There's the Berlinetta GTB hardtop. It came as a GTS, which is a removable target top, and then it also came as a Spider. These cars also were made with gated 6-speed manual transmissions, as well as this was the first Ferrari to come with the F1 gearbox. There's a lot of things, if you look online to try to find a buyer's guide for what to look for when you're shopping for a 355, there's hundreds of things people tell you to look for. But as a non-mechanic, a non-professional, the first thing you need to do before you consider any 355 is immediately get a compression check on the motor. These cars are notorious for having valve guide issues, which cause cylinders to leak down. When that happens, your engine needs to be rebuilt. It's an incredibly expensive process. The other thing about 355s, everybody talks about the cost of maintenance. Well, aside from the valve guide issues and having to rebuild the motor, if that didn't happen to the car, these cars have timing belts which require the engine to be dropped in order to fix them. With all Ferraris, but with this car in particular, that you have some service history to look at so you can see the last time that was done. I always say there's nothing more expensive than a cheap Ferrari, and when you're talking about the 355, if you're looking at a car that doesn't have extensive service history, it doesn't mean it's a bad car, but be prepared to spend a lot of money on that major service, because by the time they get the engine out, there's going to be a lot of things you're going to have to work on. We all know about notorious sticky buttons and the interior of Ferraris that don't tend to wear very well. You want to look inside, you want to see about the sticky buttons, but moreover than that, you really want to look at the condition of the leather interior. You also want to look at the dash. These cars are notorious for the airbag piece shrinking up, as well as the leather really getting very hard and cracking. It's very easy to make the exterior of a car look brand new. All you need to do is put a new paint job. But the interior of a car, the condition of the interior of the car, in my experience, really gives you an indication of how well that particular car was taken care of. If it's destroyed, I already know kind of what I'm dealing with. And then lastly, if you have access to a lift, or if you can get access to a lift, you really want to look underneath the car. These cars are very low to the ground. It's not uncommon to find some that have some damage from where they've bottomed out, stuff like that. That's not something to alarm you, but you just want to see the extent. And then these cars can leak a lot of different fluids. If it hasn't been well maintained, you can see oil leaks everywhere, other fluids. Depending on the color, you'll see that the whole bottom of the car is caked in what looks like a bunch of leaky fluid that's been there for a long time. And if that's the case, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad car. It's just an indication that there are some issues that need to be addressed. And for a 355, which I will say is one of the most beautiful Ferraris ever made, and certainly one of my favorite Ferraris to drive, if you really want to love it, you want to make sure you get a good one when you start. Otherwise, it could really be a tremendous money pit.